What's up, everybody? You're here with the Fly Guy. Today we are going to be tying one of my favorite fly patterns, a bass bunny jig. This fly will help you early in the season and during periods of high water. It gets down, it's quick and easy to tie, and it's durable. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start by attaching a thread base to our hook. I've already attached the dumbbell eyes to the front of the hook. Because this is a jig fly, I want those eyes as close to the hook eye as possible, because that will ensure that the back end of the fly stands up during the retrieve, and it gives it a really nice jigging action. Now we're going to go ahead and attach our lead wire. I do this just to give this fly a little bit of extra weight, and this really helps it get down when the water is elevated in a creek or a stream. The lead wire needs to be wrapped right up against the lead or brass eyes that you use, and you'll make 7 to 10 wraps of 0.025 lead wire. Go ahead and secure that down and move your thread to the back of the hook. Okay, grab your bunny strip and measure it to the length of the hook shank. Cut it to length and then cut a small point in the hide at the front of the zonker strip that you're going to tie down to the hook. Trim off a little bit of the hair near the point, and this will help you secure it down and it won't create too much bulk. Make sure that when you're wrapping this down that you go ahead and tie the strip in with the hide facing up. The dumbbell eyes will flip this hook upside down, so you want the material on the strip to be facing the fish, and you'll get a good action out of that zonker strip. Once the super glue is dried, you can go ahead and grab your ice chenille and tie that down so that you can wrap your body. We'll go ahead and tie that ice chenille in and then grab our rubber legs. I'm using barred crazy legs in olive and green flake. This is a hairline product. You're going to tie in 2 sets of legs. Each side of each pair of rubber legs needs to be 1 length of the hook shank. As you're tying these rubber legs down, pinch a small loop in the back center of each pair of legs. Make 2 to 3 loose wraps and then adjust the legs as necessary. Now you can go ahead and make some securing wraps up towards the front of the fly so that you can keep those rubber legs out of the way, and you can begin wrapping your ice chenille body up towards the front of the fly. Make sure that when you're wrapping the ice chenille forward that you pull back on the fibers so that you don't trap any of the material down. Once you finish wrapping your body, you do not want to wrap the chenille right up to the back of the brass eyes. You want to go ahead and leave a little bit of a space so that you have room to tie in your hackle. Adjust your rubber legs if you need to, and then go ahead and select a grizzly soft tackle feather. I would recommend that the feather you select is fairly large and webby. After you tie in your feather at the base, make as many wraps as you can with that soft tackle towards the brass eyes. Then you want to stroke the fibers back and make some securing wraps at the base of those fibers so that they lay pointing towards the tail of the fly. Whip finish or half hitch and your fly is pretty much done. You could just add some super glue to the head of this fly, or you could put some dubbing on the head of this fly and it would fish just fine. But what I'm going to show you next is how to make a really bulletproof and durable head for your jig flies, and it's going to make it almost indestructible. First, you'll go ahead and grab your brown fabric paint. You want to go ahead and use a pretty generous amount and put some on the top and the bottom of your brass eyes. Use a bodkin or a toothpick and go ahead and work that fabric paint around those brass eyes. Fill in gaps and make sure that when you're moving the fabric paint around, if you're doing it close to the hackle, to pull those hackle fibers back so that the fabric paint actually sits on the base of those fibers. It's okay if the fabric paint touches them. It's only going to lock them in even further. And it's also going to do that with the brass eyes. After you make sure that your fabric paint is even, you can go ahead and let it dry, and then once it's dry you can put on some fabric paint eyes. What I do is I take a small drop of orange fabric paint and place it in the center of the brass eye, and then I use my bodkin or my toothpick and I just move in small circles, expanding that fabric paint out to the edge of the eye. Then I just take some black fabric paint, put a small dot in the center, and move it around slightly in small, fast circles so that I form a pupil. Once this fabric paint dries, the fly that you have is really tough to damage. And I tie it in other colors too. This is kind of a craw coloration, but I also tie it in black, and the black version really works well also. I actually was using this in a flooded creek during the spring, and the water was up and stained, and I ended up catching a really nice freshwater drum. As you can see, the water's like chocolate milk, and the current was actually pretty strong. I was actually moving really quick. The spot that I wanted to hit as I floated towards this next section was right behind this root wad in between some rocks. I was slowing myself down so I could hit that spot. I put that jig fly right where I needed to, and that drum hammered it. Because the current was so strong and that fish was so strong, it actually towed me downstream quite a ways. Between the current and that fish, I got towed down almost into the next section of river. I was able to finally get myself into a slack water pocket and slow down a little bit, and I was finally able to land this fish. It was really awesome. Jig flies are so important in a fly fisherman's arsenal, especially when you're fly fishing for bass or other predatory species. They work all year long, and they can help you in high water situations or when the water is off color. I hope this fly catches you some fish. If you like this video, go ahead and hit thumbs up. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more content. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Take care, and we'll catch you next time.